Floods of the past do not give you the flood risk of the future. That is easy to say, but extremely hard to capture into flood risk models. We at 7Analytics are pioneering an approach for flood risk predictions. My name is Helge Jørgensen, one of the co-founders and CEO of 7Analytics. We are a climate tech startup out of Norway, and we are proud to say that we have already secured 40% of the insurance industry in a home market. We have also just launched our first US office here in the US, where I'm located, and we're now excited to expand our technology into the US market. We are pioneering an approach for flood risk predictions, providing crucial information all the way down to the building levels for flood risk to insurance companies, asset owners, and banks. The problem we are seeing today is the two mega trends, urbanization and unpredictable weather. This gives us an increased vulnerability for urban flooding in our cities. Our cities are growing, and with every new paved surface, it becomes less permeable. And we're also basically removing all of the natural water paths. And all of this gives us the higher probability of being flooded. And then, with the climate change, which means more frequent and intense rainfall and unpredictable weather, combining these, then this makes urban flooding one of the fastest growing physical risks that we see today. And imagine a life without insurance. That is actually the case for many people now. The reality is that insurance companies are leaving areas that are prone for flooding because they can't cope with the risk, dropping customers, leaving homeowners behind without any insurance. The main challenge for the insurance industry and the banks is to understand the flood risk. What is the probability of exactly this building being prone for flooding? And this is also a big global problem. What we see in the US now is a collapse in the home insurance system. In the UK, banks are not offering mortgages in high-risk areas anymore. In Australia, we see a spike in insurance costs, and banks are not offering loans in high-risk areas. It's a big and it's a growing problem. By pioneering an approach for flood risk modeling, we have now built a technology that provides high-resolution flood risk data all the way down to the building, as you can see in this picture. We do this at scale. We're now offering this in Northern Europe, Australia, and also in the US. Insurance companies use this information to better understand how exposed the portfolio is for flooding and also for pricing new businesses. To define and understand the flood risk, we need to understand the details and the geographic information all the way down to the street level. And to do this, we need to combine data and information from satellites in outer space all the way down to the details in the streets, like sidewalks, speed bumps, and all of the details within the neighborhoods. By combining millions of data points and dimensions, we can provide crucial insight on flood risk at the building level, at a resolution that separates the flood risk from one side of the street to the other side of the street, and as you can see in this case, neighbor by neighbor. We do this by combining geoscience, geology, hydrology, geomorphology into our technology, and then we run 600 physical parameters to each individual building at a high resolution, at 3 by 3 feet resolution, basically the size of a coffee table. And we do this for each of this building to understand if this building is prone flooding one time in the future, or if it's not prone flooding. We then combine the knowledge side, the geoscience side, with our unique machine learning model, which is trained on millions of claims that we have received from our insurance partners. But to add to the complexity, we're also dealing with dynamic data. The earth is always changing. Our cities are growing. That means new buildings and new infrastructure need to be incorporated into the models, into the data, into the terrain model, into the land use covers, because all of this will impact where the water will flow. So we now built our technology that we can capture these changes, incorporate into the models, so that we always provide with an updated flood risk to our customers. This approach gives us a unique ability to understand the flood risk, and it can help insurance companies, banks, and asset owners. And here we see an illustration on how the model works. For each of these buildings, we have these 600 physical parameters, the geoscience, geology, hydrology, and so on, combined with the machine learning models into this matrix. And then we can see that this building has a probability of being flooded for 92% given bad weather. And then, as in the insurance space, it's all about data, numbers, to be able to understand the flood risk, to better keep insurance profitable, and also to be sustainable going forward. We provide our flood risk data as a deliverance to insurance companies, so it's a data delivery to them, so they can incorporate into their existing pricing models and also to work on existing portfolios. And it's also a yearly subscription. What we see here is data from two POCs, insurance companies. If they find themselves too far on the right side, as is the case for insurers too, they're basically losing money. So, but with our data, they can move to the left. The insight our data provides to the insurance companies and also the banks gives them the data so that they can work on existing portfolios to price them more accurately and work on improving their vulnerability for flooding, but also to work with these data and pricing new business coming in. This will reduce loss, increase the profitability, so that companies can move towards the left. And one more thing, we can also do real time. That meaning that we can provide flood risk warning to asset owners up to 3 days ahead, and we do this on an hourly basis, so that they can be prepared for storm coming their way. We have one client using this today, many clients, but one of them is a hospital located in Houston. They used our technology during Hurricane Beryl, which hit the Houston back last summer. They used the technology to take decisions prior to the storm, getting critical staff like doctors, patients, and so on to the facilities before they need to close it down because of the storm. It's basically better to be prepared and do mitigating actions before your doorstep is flooded. We provide this information on an hourly basis, meaning that everything is updated every hour based on the weather forecast. And we do this 3 days ahead. So then you can do your mitigating actions and be prepared and reduce losses. Our insurance product was launched late 2023. We signed our first US customers in the 23 on the real-time product. We have established our US office this last year in mid-24, where I'm located now in Boston. We raised 4 million euros last summer, giving us the power to scale into new markets and also to grow our team. The goal now is to sign a first client in Australia this spring. Very exciting times going ahead there. And now it's all about scaling. 25 and 26 is all about scaling, both the commercial and also the technology. So we're looking for better flood risk data. Please reach out. Happy to explain more and also to give a free trial. Thank you so much for your time.